Hey folks, and welcome to another video of mine. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the new lineup of televisions that TCL has launched. That's right, they launched the C series of their televisions, their QLEDs rather, in India. And in this video, we're going to be focusing on only one model, and that's the top of the line model, which is the C825. Now, if you have read the title of the video and you have come here, then the title itself is like a spoiler alert. It's a great TV, but it's hard to recommend. Now, in case you're wondering why am I saying that, then kindly stick around till the end of the video and we'll find out together. I want to make sure that I only focus on a few specific points and not make a very long video. I generally do, I have this habit of, making extremely long videos. So I'm going to try and stick to very specific points, and I'm going to try to wrap it up in under 20 minutes time. So with that said, let's get started, folks. Okay, so let's start with the C825. Now, the C825 and all the goodness that it comes with, because we're going to talk about the good things first. Now, the title of this video did say that it's great TV. So let's find out why do I say it's great TV. Number one, it's got 500 nits of brightness. That you could say is decent enough. Now, I wouldn't say it's outstanding when it comes to the brightness levels, because there are other televisions which can get much brighter, and we're going to get to that in a short bit. But the TCL C825 has 500 nits of brightness, which is decent for SDR and HDR content. Now, the second thing that I do want to talk about is the fact that it comes with 120 Hz of refresh rate, and it comes with motion smoothing or motion interpolation as well. So that means MEMC. So 120 Hz with MEMC, very good. It also comes with variable refresh rate and auto low latency mode. In fact, it even has very low input lag and low response times, making it great to get it connected to a PC as well. So, and the variable refresh rate will come handy when it comes to gaming on a PC or on an Xbox Series S or X. Fantastic. In fact, taking the gaming thing a little further, it even has a dedicated games mode. So for you gamers, who enjoy yourself and who want to get immersed in that gaming experience, well, this television has got you covered there. So it does have a dedicated games panel. And when it comes to moving away from, the features and the picture, moving away from these aspects and then going over to sound, it also comes with 60 watts of integrated speakers, 60 watts for the 65-inch model and 50 watts for the 55-inch model. And it has audio which is tuned by Onkyo. Now, I personally own an audio bar or a sound bar by Onkyo, which is on my Nokia television. And let me tell you from my personal experience that the sound quality is extremely good. The bass, the mids, the highs, they are very well tuned, and it gives you a very good sound quality or a sound experience from the Onkyo speakers that I have on my Nokia television. If I have the same experience, then I'm sure the audiophiles or audio lovers are going to appreciate the integrated sound bar with 60 watts of sound output on this television. So these are all the goodies that you get on the C825. But what's the highlight of this television? Now, the highlight of this television is the fact that they claim that it's India's first mini LED television. That's right, India's first mini LED television. This claim is true. They're not wrong there, because this actually is India's first mini LED TVs. But does that mean TCL has made its first mini LED TV? No, because it made mini LED televisions way back in 2019 as well for markets like the US. In fact, they launched the 8 series of their QLED TVs, which were mini LED TVs, way back in 2019 in the US. And those televisions could get really bright. In fact, they could get as bright as 1000 nits. That's how bright they could get. Now, compare that to 500 nits of brightness in a market like India. Now, I understand that India is a very competitive market, so you do have to, get your specs right. You have to make sure that you're keeping the costs low. But that does not mean that, you compromise on, some of the important aspects of a television. Now, 500 nits of brightness, well, it's not bad, but it's not great as well. I'll tell you why. Because there are other televisions, and I'm going to make an apples to apples comparison as well. Because if you take the Sony X90J, which is a full array LED TV, can get as bright as 650 nits. That's way brighter than this. It's a bright TV. And if you talk about a non-full array LED, in fact an edge-lit VA panel like the one that we have on Samsung frame televisions, then those can get as bright as 550 nits. Now you might be thinking, why am I comparing a full array LED to a VA panel, and that too with edge-lit backlighting? Well, it's because of the fact that TCL as a brand has not established itself here in India, whereas you have brands like Samsung, LG, Sony's, which have a very good brand presence and a great after-sales service network here in India. In fact, if you talk about brands like TCL, if you talk about brands, when I say brands like TCL, what I mean by that is Chinese brands. And if I talk about Chinese brands, there's a very good example in MI from Xiaomi, which is again another Chinese brand, but it has captured the market really well. And it has good market share when it comes to televisions, simply because of the fact that they focused on competitive pricing and they focused on setting up their after-sales service network. That's why they were actually able to capture the Indian market so well. Now, I am going to talk about the pricing in a bit, but make sure that you keep this word competitive pricing in mind as we move over the next section now. All right, so let's get to the meat of this video. And let's answer that question. Is the C825 by TCL a good TV or a great TV? Well, the answer is it's a good TV. And for a few reasons, it might even be a great TV when it comes to the features that it's offering. But it's hard to recommend it. And here is why. It's hard to recommend it simply because of the fact that, number one, although it's not established itself here in the Indian market, as well as, let's say, MI, it is demanding a very high price for the product that they have launched here in India, which is their mini LED full array television. All right, for full array lighting TVs, because that's the backlighting that it uses. In fact, I made a video on, edge lit, direct lit, and full array backlighting. I'm going to put up the link somewhere here. Feel free to check that video out as well, in case you want to know all about the lighting technologies that comes in the televisions today. But coming back to the C825. Now the C825, let's look at the pricing and why I say it's hard to recommend it. All right. Now the price of the 55-inch model is 1,14,990. Now that, in my personal opinion, is not competitively priced at all. Let's take the Sony X90J as an example, all right? And the reason why I'm actually comparing it with the Sony X90J is because the Sony X90J is also a television which comes with full array backlighting. And that is also from a brand like Sony. Now that television costs around 1,32,990. So 1,33,000, you could say, if I round that figure off. And there is a difference of 18,000 rupees. But here's the thing that I always mention to my viewers. And it's a very important point. When you buy a television, you don't buy a television for a year or two. You would definitely buy a television and keep it for at least 4 to 5 years, in fact. And if you're doing that, in the long scheme of things, 18,000 rupees would not really make a difference. So if I compare the 55-inch model of the Sony X90J, which by the way is a full array QLED television from the house of Sony, and then I compare it to TCL, which is a full array television, there's a difference of 18,000, I agree. But the brand presence, the brand value, the after-sales service network, most importantly, the peace of mind, all right? You get all of that. So you really have to ask yourselves, that question, is 18,000 too much for that peace of mind? In my personal opinion, definitely not. I, in fact, could even pay 25,000 more to have that peace of mind. And to go with a brand like Sony, well, I can rest assured that they have my back covered when it comes to the after-sales service network. So that's a comparison with a brand like Sony. And again, we're talking about full array televisions. We're talking about a brighter TV with Sony, because that can get as bright as 650 nits. And all the other features that we spoke about, VRR, ALLM, games mode, it's all there. 4K 120 Hertz, it's all there. So it's not like, you are going to have to compromise on the features to go along with a brand like Sony. No, it has got you covered in all those areas. So it's not like you're compromising on that, are you? You're not. And still, there's only a marginal difference when it comes to the price. Now, moving over from a model like the Sony X90J, if you don't have a fascination for this full array LED backlighting, and the question is, does it make a difference in the picture quality? Let me answer that with a simple and an outright yes, it does. Of course it does. That's why the high pricing and the high cost. If it didn't, then why would they charge more? It definitely makes a difference. Where does it make a difference? Well, if you're sitting right in front of a VA panel with it, which is an edge-lit panel, not that much of a difference, to be honest. But when you move around and when you watch it from an angle, you would clearly be able to see some sort of an illuminance coming from the edge-lit television panels. Yes, you won't find that on a full array LED television. The blacks, let's take a movie for an example. And if you're watching a movie in CinemaScope, which means you have black bars right on top and at the bottom, the blacks will be blacks when it comes to the full array. And if you tilt yourself a little bit and if you move, that is watching your television from an angle, you would clearly be able to find out that difference, especially around the corners when it comes to the edge-lit backlighting. But on a full array LED television, that would not be the case. The blacks would be uniform throughout because the lighting is evenly spread. So is it going to make a huge difference? Yes, if you're viewing it from an angle, but if you're sitting right in front of it, please note, there will be a difference, but not as much. That brings me to the next point. If I really have to compare it to another brand, let's take the Samsung and let's take the Frame 2021, all right, as an example. It's not a full array LED television, but it definitely gets more brighter than this panel because that gets as bright as 560 nits, whereas this is limited to 500 nits. Yes, I understand it's not a full array LED backlighting television, but it does have VA edge lit along with dual LED backlighting technology. What is this? I can cover this in some other video. It comes with dual LED backlighting technology, which is proprietary to Samsung. I mean, it's their gig. Let's put it that way. We're gonna talk about it in some other video, but today let's skip away from that and let's focus on the pricing of the Frame 2021. The Frame 2021 in the 65-inch model comes in at 1,25,000. You're not hearing anything wrong. The Frame 2021, I'm going to repeat myself. I'm going to put up the link in the description box as well. Should you want to buy it, just click on that link and buy the television. 1,25,000 for the Frame 2021. How much does the 65-inch of this particular television cost? 1 lakh. You could say, if I round it off, 1,50,000 because it's 1,49,990. So even if I round it off, it comes to say about 1,50,000. So there's a whopping difference of 25,000, and in that 25,000 you can actually buy a Dolby Atmos soundbar if you really wanted it. So, and again, 3 very important factors: brand presence, brand value. Number 2, after sales service network. Number 3, that peace of mind. In fact, I'll add one number 4 as well. Even if you want to resell it, like exchange this TV for another, say 4 years, 5 years down the line, you will get a better value for your money than the TCL. All right. So although that's a smaller, you could say, factor, the most important factor in my personal opinion is that peace of mind. That is the most important factor. And I always place myself in your position when I make these videos, because the question is, what would I do if I was in your place? Would I buy the TCL C825? Personally, if you ask me, I wouldn't. I would rather spend 25,000 rupees extra and buy the 55-inch X90J from Sony. I would rather spend 25,000 less, and instead of going with a full array backlighting TV, I would rather go for a VA edge lit backlighting and buy the Samsung for 1,25,000, which is way cheaper. So although it might be a great TV with great features, it is hard to recommend it. And it's because of that price factor. Indian market is a very competitive market, and even brands like Sony, LG and Samsung, they've got it figured out. They know that to compete in such a competitive market, you have to make sure that you're offering a great amount of features at very competitive pricing, and they've got the formula right. And in case you are thinking about why has TCL not been able to capture the market in India, the answer is right there. In fact, they have a sub-brand called iFalcon, and do check out this model number, which is the 55H71, I believe. I'm going to put up the link in the description box as well, just in case I'm wrong here. But their iFalcon QLED TV, the 55-inch model, comes in at 47,999. And that is a whopping difference of 25,000 when we compare it with their entry level QLED in the C series model, which is the C725. I know I'm not talking about C825 now, I'm moving into C725 territory. But look at the difference. There's a difference of 25,000. So in case you're wondering, why has TCL not been able to establish the market? Well, it has not been able to capture the pulse of the Indian market, which is great features at competitive pricing. It's not got that formula right. It's trying to correct its mistakes by introducing sub-brands like iFalcon, which is again a brand of TCL only. But it's gonna take them time. In my personal opinion, if these TVs, let's take the C825 55-inch model as an example. If it came at 1 lakh rupees mark, it would still be something that would be easier, not easy, but at least comparatively easier to recommend. But at that price range of 1 lakh 15, it's tough to recommend that. Now, if there was a difference of, let's say, 35,000 or 40,000 between this TV and the Sony X90J, then yes, I could tilt towards that direction. But for a difference of 18,000, which is less than 20,000, I'm not even gonna think too much. I am straight away gonna go for the Sony when it comes to the 55-inch model. The X90J is a fantastic television, and I highly recommend that you check them out. So that brings us to the end of this video, and that's my reason for not being able to recommend the TCL C825. Again, it might be a great TV, and TCL does make good TVs. Like I said, they make great televisions. In fact, models which give very good competition to brands like Sony, LG and Samsung, but they've not yet come to India. Those models have been launched in regions like the US. So if you can launch models like that, the 8 series which was launched way back in 2019, and bring that kind of, a value for money ratio here in India, then why not? You can capture the market well, but it's got a long way to go right now. And that's why it's hard to recommend these TCL televisions. The entire C series lineup, in fact, is hard to recommend. And specifically the C825 is very hard to recommend because of the pricing, especially. So that's my reason. I hope you've enjoyed the content in this video. In case you feel I've missed out on something, do feel free to reach out to me and comment in the comment section, and I'll be happy to respond back to your comments. In fact, I look forward to your comments after I post every single video of mine. Now, it's my humble request, you could say, that please hit that like and subscribe button as well, because it does make a difference. It does make a difference with the YouTube algorithm, and it helps my channel grow. And also, if you could hit that bell icon, and that's because if I put out a video tomorrow, you will get a notification straight away that a new video of mine has released. Now, with that said, it's a wrap for this one, folks. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I really appreciate your patience and your time, your love and support. This is me signing off until we meet again in the next video, folks. Take care, stay safe, and may God bless you all.